Bruh, here we go again. Caitlyn is out minding her business. She out working on her golf swing at Michael Jordan's private golf course, doing her thing, not bothering nobody. Caitlyn Clark is not bothering nobody. And here we have another hating WNBA player being a flat out liar and a hater, and we gotta call them out and hold their feet to the fire. This is nasty work. Nasty work, bro. I'm telling you, they can't help themselves. These girls honestly can't help themselves. I don't even know how to pronounce.
Check it out. The player named Louise G, who plays for the Dallas Wings and is Paige Bueckers' partner, just made this ridiculous claim. She said, Caitlyn Clark is a big part of the women's basketball revolution, but she's definitely not the only one. What's more, she said Paige Bueckers has a killer sense and that she knows for sure because she has experienced it herself. It looked like an insult to Caitlyn Clark, who was just playing golf on Michael Jordan's private course without any plans to do so. Fans were furious because it looked like someone was trying to spread false information and make fun of Clark's generational genius. This wasn't just a chance point of view. It was a brave public statement meant to weaken Clark's huge power. And trust me, people in the WNBA noticed. This was not going to work, Doc.
So, Louisa G, that plays for the Dallas Wings, Paige Bueckers' teammate, felt the need to go on Instagram and take shots at Caitlyn Clark to try to uplift Paige Bueckers. You can uplift Paige Bueckers without talking about Caitlyn Clark. You could do that. She wants to go play Captain Saver for Paige Bueckers based on fans' opinion, and she wants to go take shots at Caitlyn Clark on Instagram. Then she goes on a podcast and...
But let's talk about it. Things didn't just happen like this out of the blue. It started with a long-running fan conversation. A lot of people who like Caitlyn Clark love her killer sense, right? They often say that her desire to compete is a big part of why they like her more than other very skilled players. Even Paige Bueckers thinks that Clark's one of a kind. Game-changing skill is what makes her stand out and has an impact. What did happen? Louise pretty much stepped in to keep Bueckers safe. She pushed back against that idea by saying that Bueckers has the same deadly drive, trying to make Clark look less important than she really is. Then, what seemed like a small issue turned into a much bigger and meaner fight, showing some deep-seated problems that had been building in the league.
The show's host, Enoch Wolf, asked Griselda Louisa, we call her Louisa, to choose between her teammate and the Indiana Fever star guard. The Wings center delved into her thoughts before naming Paige Bueckers as the winner of the matchup. We know that's a bold-faced lie. We know good and well that is a damn lie. Is nobody is taking no damn Paige Bueckers over Caitlyn Clark. And y'all make us have to say things like, yo, Paige Bueckers, yo, she can't even sell out. She got the third lowest attendance in the league. We like Paige, but when y'all do this...
Where did this whole thing begin? Louise G first said these things in public during an interview on The Journey Show on a Saturday. Enoch Wolf and Grizzle, the hosts, put her on the spot. Guess who they asked her to pick between? Paige Bueckers, a friend, and Caitlyn Clark. Louise G didn't even think. She thought about it for a moment before deciding that Paige Bueckers would win that made-up match. Oh, that's okay, you might think. But picking Bueckers on a public stage, when everyone knows Clark's unique position, made some people wonder. It made a lot of questions and doubts possible. It was just the start with the show. It was a practice run for the even more offensive things she would say on social media, which made the whole thing worse.
He's like, yo, Paige, yo, she can't even sell out. She got the third lowest attendance in the league. We like Paige, but when y'all do this, when y'all do that, we have to do this. We have to do this. None of us was talking about Paige. We wasn't thinking about Paige. She got to go do Unrivaled. Nobody's bothering her. Okay, the fans had a lot to say about Louisa's opinion. They swarmed the post comment section with their take on Wing Stars opinions and on Bueckers Clark matchup. One fan gave Fever Guard an upper hand in the matchup. It says Caitlyn Clark is revolutionizing women's basketball.
Many people quickly called Louise G's choice of Paige Bueckers over Caitlyn Clark a bold-faced lie, which made a lot of people not believe it. Not long after the discussion began, an embarrassing truth came up. The third least number of people came to Paige Bueckers' team's game in the league. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, always sells out venues where she appears. There was no way that Bueckers was even close to Clark in terms of overall popularity and impact. Given the huge difference between the number of people who go and the amount of power they have to draw people in, ignoring facts that were so clear made everyone more angry. Followers of Clark felt compelled to talk about these tough facts, not to offend, but to fight against what they saw as a total lie. It made Louise G's comments look like they weren't true.
Now, this is where the disrespect comes in. Now pay attention to this. This is where the disrespect starts. It's too much, and we got to call these people out. We have to. She goes and says this. This is what Louisa had to say on Instagram. It says, Caitlin Clark is definitely an important part of the revolution in women's basketball. Definitely not the only one, though. Paige Bueckers has a killer instinct. I can confirm 100% from live experience. So so here we go again. It's not only her, it's me too.
It's crazy that Louise G didn't stop with the show. Sorry. Then she went on Instagram and wrote a very scary post that backed up what she had said before. In fact, it made the hatred even worse. She said, and I'm paraphrasing, Caitlin Clark is definitely an important part of the revolution in women's basketball, but she's not the only one. She then said, Paige Bueckers has a killer instinct. I can 100% confirm this based on my personal experience. Listen, this wasn't a casual social media comment. This was a direct public challenge to Clark's status as the WNBA's most significant game changer. It went against the general belief that Clark is the only one who can bring about change. The whole post, which was clearly meant to promote her friend, came across as a really petty, undermining attack. It caused a huge backlash and showed that she was trying to put Clark down on purpose. The issue heated up even more.
Paige Bueckers has a killer instinct. I can confirm 100% from live experience. So so here we go again. It's not only her, it's me too. Get the out of here. Get out of here, Louisa. Nobody's thinking about you, bro. Why are you talking about Caitlin Clark? Who are you? Who are you? Bro, stop playing games. We talking about she did her part. No, she is the only reason. She's the only reason these girls is demanding all this money in the new CBA. She's the only reason these ratings jumped up. The ratings fell 55% when she got hurt. What are you talking about? Paige Bueckers.
This particular phrase is not unique, though. What I said moved a lot of people, and it seemed like an obvious attempt to downplay Caitlin Clark's huge and revolutionary impact. Some commentators say Clark is the only reason for the WNBA's recent rise in popularity, which is due to new collective bargaining agreements and the sudden demand for higher player wages. Her appearance had a huge effect on the women's basketball scene, bringing in millions of new viewers and an amazing amount of attention that didn't exist before she became a star in college. To say she's just one important factor among many ignores the huge change she caused on her own. It seemed like someone was trying to deny Clark of the honor she deserved, minimizing her unique legacy for small and unfair reasons.
Because you shouldn't even be talking about no Caitlin Clark. You shouldn't be talking about Caitlin Clark. Now let's look at Louisa G. You was drafted in 2020, second round pick by the Dallas Wings. Last year, you averaged 7 points and 5 rebounds. You don't get to talk about Caitlin Clark. How about that? We're gonna start setting parameters, rules, and guidelines around here. We're going to start setting parameters, rules, and guidelines. Louisa G, I'm sorry. Your stats are not good enough for you to be trying to downplay who the woman that's about to get you more money in the league. What are you talking about?
And get this. The evidence for Caitlin Clark's one-of-a-kind effect isn't just talk. It's solid, undeniable proof that Louise G's claims aren't true. For example, when Clark was hurt in college, WNBA ratings dropped dramatically. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a clear, hard-hitting example of her unmatched ability to get people's attention and how much the league's popularity depended on her being on the court. Honestly, no other athlete has ever had such a substantial, measurable effect on TV ratings. This direct link completely disproves the idea that she is just an important part of the revolution. It proves beyond a reasonable doubt that she is the only cause of this unprecedented rise in attention and money potential. This only shows that Louise G was wrong and rude.
Caitlin Clark is definitely an important part of the revolution in women's basketball. Definitely not the only one, though. These women done bumped their head. I'm telling you, they can't help but to hate. You know who women's biggest haters are? Other women. That's really who women's biggest haters are. And it shows every single day in the WNBA, the gift that keeps on giving. Every day it shows. This is a typical, oh, it's not only her, it's us too. It's me too.
The question that comes right after all of Louise G's claims is pretty simple, right? I thought, who are you and why are you even talking about Caitlin Clark? Fans and experts both found it very confusing. How brave it is for a player with a pretty unknown career to try to bring down the WNBA's biggest star. In the meantime, Caitlin Clark is not bothering anyone. She stays out of internet fights. She's not insulting other players. Her only focus is on her game, her plans for the future,
and making women's basketball better with her amazing skills and good looks.
There are real concerns about jealousy and wrong priorities in this attack by a less well-known player who stands to gain from Clark's increased visibility in the league. Some people in the WNBA can't seem to enjoy a real, undeniable success without trying to downplay their impact. This shows how hostile some people are toward superstars. The uproar started when the cold, hard truth about Louise G's WNBA stats came out. Her work life has been pretty average, if not terrible. The Dallas Wings picked her in the second round of the 2020 draft, but her stats don't let her attack Caitlin Clark. It was about 7 points and 5 rebounds per game for her last season. Even though those are good traits for a role player, they don't give her the right to loudly criticize or dismiss what Clark brings to the table. The big difference between how she played on the court and what she said in public made her words sound even more empty and, let's be honest, self-serving. People started calling for rules and limits in the WNBA about who can say things about Caitlin Clark because they thought it was disrespectful. It's clear how they feel. If your career stats and effect on the league aren't even close to hers, you shouldn't be criticizing her groundbreaking work in public. This is not meant to shut down doubters. It's about stopping people from lying and insulting Clark without a good reason from people who, let's be honest, benefit from his presence in terms of fame and money. The idea is that players should focus on their own jobs and games instead of what look like small, jealous attacks on the person who is making the sport better as a whole. This requirement for professional behavior shows how deeply upset people are about the ongoing efforts to damage Clark's clear legacy. People's main complaints about Louise G were that she was wrong and had no respect for others. They also said she was very cocky. Many people thought it was rude and out of place to say that Clark is only an important part of the team and Louise G is just an average WNBA player who was picked up 5 years ago and may be lucky to still be playing. This isn't just a matter of taste. It's an attack on the woman who is single-handedly making the league more well-known, which means more money and opportunities for everyone. Including Louise G, the story then asked how someone could insult someone so important to their career and bite the hand that feeds them. This lack of thanks made people even more angry, making Louise's comments seem like a deeply personal and unfounded attack instead of helpful feedback. There was a familiar theme quickly running through this show, the idea that women's biggest critics are often other women. This is an opinion that has been voiced many times in the WNBA. Commentators say this is not an isolated case, but rather a trend of well-known female players who can't fully accept and welcome a new transcendent superstar. There is a strong feeling of jealousy and a desire to share credit for a change that, let's be honest, is mostly being led by one person, especially when that celebrity gets a lot of attention. This gift that keeps on giving mentality, as some people call it, shows that some athletes don't want to recognize great performance without taking credit away from others. They say that this internal conflict hurts the league in the long run by causing needless disagreement and conflict. This was a great example of the "it's not just her, it's us too" attitude that is common in the WNBA, by saying that the revolution is a group effort and Caitlin Clark's unique contributions are less important. This communal credit-grabbing method tries to lessen her personal impact, but the facts don't support that. Clark is the only player whose home and away games always sell out, and their games aren't being moved to bigger NBA arenas to meet the high demand. Clark's presence is definitely linked to the huge popularity and record-breaking viewership increases, rather than an attempt from the whole league. This contrast is important and successfully disproves the "we all contribute equally" story. It shows that Clark's individual impact was downplayed in favor of a more appealing, but ultimately fake community victory. Also, the big difference in arena sales was another clear example of how Louise G's efforts to play up Paige Bueckers and downplay Caitlin Clark were wrong. While Clark always sells out every building she plays in, both at home and away, bringing in a lot of fans, other teams, like the one Bueckers plays for, are still having trouble getting people to come to games. Even though Buecker plays for the Dallas Wings, their small building is hard to fill. Some people have said that this difference in drawing power shows how Louise G's claims and what is really happening in the W are very different. One thing that makes Clark so popular is that he can fill venues and make a lot of money by himself. No other player can do that. Any claim that says otherwise is easily disproved by looking at how many tickets were sold and how many people showed up. During the whole fake incident, what was Caitlin Clark doing? She kept quiet and focused the whole time, not wanting to get involved in the small drama. Louise was busy calling Clark names on podcasts and social media, while Clark was supposedly just doing her own thing and practicing her golf swing at Michael Jordan's private course. There was no rivalry between them, and she wasn't trying to hurt the lives of other players. Instead of attacking people personally, she consistently shows that she is dedicated to her job, her support, and the bigger goal of developing women's basketball. This calm professionalism stands in stark contrast to Louise's unjustified hostility. It shows how mature Clark is in dealing with her rising fame and how unfair the hate she faces is, making her an easy target. Caitlin Clark has an impact on a lot of things besides hoops. She's making a big, noticeable effect that makes it impossible to play her down. She does more than just play hoops. She's constantly hiring for Butler, working on big projects like Unrivaled and Project B, and building her brand all the time. She is a cultural figure who has taken women's sports to a whole new level by involving a wide range of people and creating chances that have never been seen before. These amazing things she does off the court, along with her great play on the court, show that she has an impact that goes beyond simple game numbers. This proves that she is a real leader with unmatched reach. Aside from the false charges at first, the most annoying thing about Louise's behavior was that she chose to show even more disdain. Not happy with just saying hurtful things on Instagram. Then she said them again and made them louder on the podcast, which solidified her stance and left no room for confusion. It wasn't just a mistake of judgment. It was a deliberate plan to weaken Caitlin Clark's influence by sharing that false story over and over again. This repeated offense points to a deeper, maybe more rooted dislike, suggesting an attempt to cause trouble and get attention at Clark's expense. Such persistence in spreading false information and disrespect made people think that what she did was planned and not an accident, which is why the league and its fans harshly condemned her. And this is what happened because Louis attacked without reason. Fans who would normally cheer for other teams become guarded when they see them, stressing the flaws that people think celebrities like Paige Bueckers have without meaning to. When an opponent makes such baseless accusations against Clark, her supporters point out things like the fact that Bueckers' team has the third lowest attendance in the league. Before this disaster, no one was talking about these specifics. This cycle of forced comparisons makes people more competitive and hostile than they need to be, which hurts the WNBA's image as a whole. Instead of praising the league's wide range of skills, these mean words turned players against each other, making them more angry and taking attention away from Clark's progress. It creates a bad story that only makes fans and players dislike each other. That makes it clear how most fans and critics feel. That's enough. This must end. It's not just annoying when people attack Caitlin Clark and try to downplay her huge impact without her permission. They do everything they can to hurt the WNBA's growth and image. This kind of shady business takes away from the league's amazing success. Instead, it focuses on small fights and unfair hostility because of Clark's interesting nature. A lot of players are telling each other to stop being jealous and take advantage of the great chance Clark is giving everyone. Stop being so rude. This isn't an attempt to silence criticism. It's a call for professionalism and recognition of Clark's important part in changing women's basketball so that the focus can return to the game itself, without any extra drama. Lastly, Caitlin Clark stands out as an unstoppable force that is changing women's basketball and breaking through peaks that were thought to be impossible to reach. She has an effect that goes beyond a movement. She stands for the change. A one-of-a-kind event that brings in more fans, money, and opportunities for the whole WNBA. Even though players like Louis try to put her down for no reason, Clark keeps raising the level of play, inspiring millions, and proving her worth through unquestionable numbers and worldwide fame. These unjustified attacks only show how scared and envious some people are, which ends up working against them and making Clark the league's unquestionable face. Her legacy is marked by stadiums that are packed to the brim and ratings that break records. This shows that the truth will always win over lies.